What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Full Court Talk podcast. CJ and I are back at it. This is our post-draft podcast, so the first one. But we have a special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Bryce.
So if you can't tell, we're cousins. No, I'm just kidding. We are brothers. We're twins. Yeah, so let's get into it. So we have a
Excited to be
couple.
here.
Okay. We have a couple of house cleaning stuff that we're going to get into, trades and whatnot. And then, so our first topic for today is going to be analyzing the first three picks, which includes Anthony Edwards. And then the next one is the Bulls selected who? Patrick Williams goes 4, which was a huge shock, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Topic number 3, why did Obi Toppin, Deni Advija, and Tyrese Halliburton slip in the draft? And the last three topics kind of go hand in hand, but who will be the best player in the draft? I think after seeing where everyone went, this is going to be pretty interesting. Who is the biggest steal of the draft? And who is going to be, or what team is going to be regretting what they did on draft night? But to get to the house cleaning stuff, so literally the day of our that we recorded our last podcast, Jrue Holiday gets traded that night to Milwaukee for Eric Bledsoe, George Hill, and 3 first-round picks, which includes 2 pick swaps. So just 3 picks. The way they made it seem like it was 5, but it's 3 picks. So what do you guys think of this? Is this a good move, bad move, or is just
Go ahead, Bryce. Go first. I think it's solid, but to me, they kind of gave up a lot for Jrue. I like Jrue. I think he's underrated, but I don't know if he's rated 2 of their point guards plus some other assets included. It'll be weird to see him fit with a team like the Bucks because, I mean, as long as I remember now, he's only been on 2 teams, so it's gonna be weird. But I don't know if he fits that like true point guard role that Giannis needs.
I think it's a good move, but I think they would have much rather had a shooter rather than a slasher, I guess you could say. Jrue Holiday can shoot. Like, he can shoot.
Yeah.
But can he shoot 37% from 3? That's going to be the biggest thing, I think. But what do you think, CJ?
I think, initially, like before reading the full reports, I thought they just gave up the 2 point guards. So I thought it was Bledsoe and George Hill. And then when I found out they gave an additional like picks to get him, that's when I realized they gave too much. Yeah. Taking the 2 point guards from the Bucks, like that pretty much takes everybody that can handle the ball.
Yeah.
And so, initially, like I said before, reading up on the results, I was happy for them to get Jrue because, he was like a better point guard than Bledsoe. But the fact that, they gave somebody like George Hill, George Hill obviously shoots better than those 2 point guards. And like you guys said, like, it's just, I don't know if that's the point guard that Giannis needs. He needs somebody that can stretch the floor because he needs the floor to operate. And so Drew's an attacking slasher, point guard. And then like losing somebody like George Hill, it removes a backup for the Bucks. Yeah. And so, like the Pelicans and the Thunder, as we know, they're stacking up the picks. And that was the beginning for the Pelicans because initially it was just the Thunder. It was just the Thunder that was like stacking up. But I don't think they gave too much for me. Because now Jrue is the only point guard on that team that has, solid experience, and it might pan out. We'll just have to wait and see. But as of right now, it's just a little bit too much for Jrue.
Yeah, and kind of sticking with the Bucks here. Another trade that fell through actually the next day, but they attempted a trade for Bogdan Bogdanović. Mm-hmm. And at first glance, that's a great trade for them. Obviously, you only give up 3 players. I think it was Ersan Ilyasova, Dante DiVincenzo, and DJ Wilson. 3 players, 2 players you don't need. 1 player they already waived. Dante DiVincenzo would have hurt, but Bogdan would have been someone that slides right into that 2 role and fits perfectly with that team.
Yeah, and he shoots better than both of them.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And to have that deal fall through is huge.
Yep.
They're doing anything they can to keep Giannis here. And that might have been a huge blow. I think they're really making desperation moves at this point. I think that's what the Drew Holiday move was.
Yep.
And this Bogdan trade was the good one out of them, but then for him to refuse it and say, I want to go somewhere else, that's a huge blow. And that's kind of telling that maybe he's looking at it like there's not really a future for me here, which is not good.
Yeah.
So I think that was the most interesting thing that happened out of the trade speculation, that we thought he was going to the Bucks. It was kind of already set in stone. And then all of a sudden it falls through.
Yeah, I was waiting for someone to come out and say Bogdan agreed. I didn't see that anywhere in any of the reports. I thought that was weird.
So, I mean, just to clarify, does that mean like the Bucks send Dante and like all those guys? No, they stay put, right?
That's why Ersan got waived today.
Yeah.
So something's going on, because Ersan's not a bad player.
He's a solid role player off the bench.
He fits that team really well.
Yeah, but that was weird.
So I'm not too sure what's going on, because why would you just waive some guy that can shoot with a team that needs shooting?
The Bucks are just throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks at this point. They're just trying to make any move possible to see if they can keep Giannis at this point. But it seems like they're trying to do too much at this point, because their team doesn't need that much. They need shooting. But they're just trying to get names right now, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And I think go ahead, CJ.
No, I was just gonna say, like, with Bogdan, it's just I feel like he wasn't consulted. You know what I mean? And like I feel like he had to hear it from like people that saw the report. Like initially, like, as an agent, you're supposed to say, hey man, like you're getting traded. But I feel like nobody said anything to him, and so like people were just beating around the bush. Like, hey, are you gonna tell him or should I? But
that's
then,
the Kings' MO though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. But I've never seen anything like this in terms of like trades. I mean, I've seen a trade get vetoed, but I've never seen it like not pull through like this, So,
and like
I've only seen it in baseball.
Yeah.
And it's rare that you see it like happen hours after, like, but to have a full day go by and they're like, oh, it's not going down. That's just it's real sketchy on both sides.
Everyone just seemed really confused about the whole trade.
Yeah, nobody knew what was going on.
It's the King, so I'm not shocked about that. But to get into some sad news, Klay Thompson injures himself again. It's his right leg this time. He tore his Achilles last, I think, yesterday while he was at practice. And for Bryce and I, this is huge. Like, it's really sad. This is a guy, even for CJ, because, like, it's hard to hate on Klay. Klay is one of those guys that just works so hard. And to see him where he came up, like, from last year, like, tearing his ACL in the finals and then coming back all last year and working so hard, and just to tear your Achilles like that, it's really sad. So I'm hoping for the best, but it's tough. It's a huge blow to the Warriors.
I mean, the one thing I want to say is that, like, like I said, like Klay is like you said, hard person to hate against. Like he does his job. He's pretty modest and humble, and even though he's like one of the top 10 players, top 15 players in the game, like he does his thing. Especially for your guys' team. And so, like, to see him go down, like, I'm very curious as to what he was trying to do with these workouts, like high intensity workouts, because I mean, I understand that the season's coming around, but it's just, he was probably trying to push himself just so he can get ready. And like, I respect that, because obviously you want to do right by your team, but it's scary, man, because he doesn't deserve that. I mean, nobody does, but like, after getting injured by ACL and then Achilles, like, you just can't catch a break. And like, Klay is 29 and it's robbing him of like his early prime years. You know what I mean? And so like, it just sucks because I know you guys, as well as, other Warrior fans, we're looking forward to seeing him. And as a basketball fan, like, I would have loved seeing him coming back. It would have been a great game to play you guys on Christmas.
Yeah.
But it's just, it just sucks. It's a privilege to play, and I hope he recovers fast. They have the proper tools to get him back on his feet. And I just hope he's still the same player, you know, because usually with these type of injuries, two of the most major injuries in sports, it's scary, man. So I just hope, you know, he can come back.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is it's going to be mental, you know.
Yeah.
Taking
Yeah.
2-3 years off, like, that takes a toll on some guy that loves
Yeah.
basketball as much as he does. To take that much time off, it's tough, you know.
Yeah.
So we're
That's
hoping for the
true.
best, and I'm just praying that he gets better, you know, because he's arguably one of the most popular Bay Area athletes. So I'm just hoping he gets better.
Definitely. Yeah.
But let's get into some more positive news. So the first three picks of the draft went, you know, I think it went almost exactly as a lot of people thought.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards goes to the Timberwolves. What do you guys think of this pick?
Not like a huge fan of Anthony Edwards. It's hard to justify a dude who doesn't love the game of basketball to spend your first pick on him. And the fact he's not even he's like not a real winner. Like I feel like everywhere he's gone, he's never really just won games as being that dude anyway. So it's hard to say. And a dude he doesn't have a good shot selection. I don't know if he's just. It seems like a really big he seems like Wiggins, except went to a worse school.
Yeah. But what do you think, CJ?
I mean, in terms of fit and what the Wolves need, like I think they drafted well. I mean, they were smart not to take Lamella. They're obviously smart not to take Wiseman. But you know, like Bryce said, like it's just lately he's been having some questionable comments, man, and like, you know, like trying to go at Dame, you know, speaking about basketball and football. And, you know, what I found, like, hilarious when we were watching the draft, me and my friends, is that when he got drafted, they didn't show any basketball highlights. They showed football highlights in the beginning.
Yeah, I was like,
you know?
what the heck are you doing?
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so, like, don't get me wrong, like, he's athletic, he's explosive, but, yeah, the shot selection is just, you know, questionable. So hopefully, you know, he can improve on that. And like I've said in previous podcasts, like, the challenge that he's, you know, asserting to himself is that he wants to get better on defense. And so, like, if he can do that, play alongside D'Lo, you know, be that starting two that the Timberwolves need. Like, obviously in the long run, they'll be good. But I mean, let's not forget that pick was, you know, being used as bait for trade. You know, they're trying to see what they can get out of it. But overall, and the fit for the team, I think they drafted well. You know, because obviously all the other options like wouldn't have matched what they needed as well.
Yeah, I think on paper it's a good pick. You couldn't go LaMelo, awkward fit.
Yep.
Wiseman, you don't want to piss off Cat any more that they already have.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Don't go Wiseman.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think even though there was no consensus overall pick, Anthony Edwards was the consensus overall pick here. There was really no one else that could have gone. Yeah.
Yep.
But I think, like we said, like, those comments he said about not loving basketball is just really weird. The timing was just so off. And I couldn't get over that because it's just like, as soon as I heard that, I was like, no, I don't want him on my team. Get him off my team.
Yeah.
I was so happy when he got picked first. I was like, I don't want him anymore. It was just very, like, it's just odd, man. Like, and his reason for not wanting to be in the NBA or, like, loving the NFL more was he could dance and express himself.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just like, what does that even mean, bro? And then, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, he can dance in, like, pregame.
Yeah, the NBA is not like this, like, school that, like, forces you to, like, just stand there.
Hey, actually, you can't express yourself in the NBA.
Yeah, it's just a very weird, like, why would you say that not the day before you're getting drafted?
Yeah, exactly.
And people were speculating maybe he's trying to get away from the Timberwolves.
But
it didn't work.
Yeah.
So it was weird, and it was easily one of the worst quotes I've ever read from a top pick.
For sure.
It just makes no sense.
Yeah, and I don't know
like
if you guys...
the dude has an agent, right? I mean, he had to go through the quote, talk about it with the agent first, and then they both had to agree on it.
Yeah, and I don't know. I sent this to CJ, and it was like about Anthony Edwards going to Benihana's and like cooking his food on the grill.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be fake, but I just thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
But he's a weird guy overall. So we're gonna see what happens. I hope for the best for him, but it really just soured me on those comments.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But long way to James Wiseman goes to the Warriors. Obviously Bryce and we're kind of hoping for Lamella at this point. Just for the interesting, it would just be super interesting. But deep down, I kind of always knew it was going to be Wiseman.
Oh yeah.
He fits the team the best. They need a center. We haven't had a good center since Wilt Chamberlain. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Andrew Bogut was not.
Nate Thurman.
Oh yeah, Nate Thurman.
The legend, Andres.
Oh,
yeah, Beadrin. My guy.
I remember one time I met him and I didn't want him to sign anything. Anyways, Wiseman is arguably he could be the best player in the draft.
Yeah.
And especially with Klay going down, he's gonna have to take more of an offensive load. And defensively he's gonna have to pick it up.
Yeah.
But like you said, Draymond makes all of his teammates better, but especially his bigs.
Yep.
He's turned Marquise Chris around almost totally because he went from being on the Suns, which was a terribly ran organization back then, to the Cavs, to the Rockets, and just couldn't stick. And then as soon as he gets on the Warriors, you see him motivated, working hard, and he looks good. And until Wiseman, he was our starting center, and I was totally fine with that.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for Wiseman. I think his speed is something that surprised me. I think I watched a couple of highlight tapes, and the dude is
fast,
quick for 7'2", 7'1".
Yeah.
And he's gigantic.
Yeah,
so
he is.
I'm excited. We haven't ever had a big like this. And, it's just I feel really bad for him at the same time because, I was watching his little, conference today, and it was just taken over by Klay, and it's just that's such a sad thing. But I'm hoping for the best because Wiseman could be really good, and this is a perfect fit. But what do you guys think?
Go ahead, DJ.
Oh, since I'm a big Warriors fan, honestly, seeing LaMelo with you guys would have been, crazy to watch because you could argue that. That could have been the third Splash Brothers. You know what I mean? But, yeah, I had a feeling it was always going to be Wiseman. But it's just, Draymond's track records with bigs is probably what sold the Warriors to getting him.
Yeah.
Aside from that raw talent that Wiseman possesses, it's just, Draymond's ability to make those around him, especially big, so much better is just, basically what sold the team. And so Wiseman is going to be good for you guys because if you think about it, Looney, he can run the floor, but he's not as mobile as Wiseman would be.
Yeah.
Looney would be best at half-court offenses, but I feel like especially with Klay going down, if it wasn't likely before, I think the Warriors are going to run. They're going to run.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And they need somebody that can run the floor with them. And so, initially, that Wendell Carter Jr. trade that was, proposed, I would have liked that for you guys too. Cause,
I would have jumped all over that.
Yeah, Wendell Carter Jr. is just a more athletic Kevon Looney.
Yeah.
I would argue that he's a better Damian Jones too. You know what I mean? And so, but now that you have Chris and Wiseman, you can play those two at the floor together because those guys can run. They play above the rim. You know what I mean? And so, it's perfect fit for you guys. You have a running big that can protect the paint. Unicorn, definition of a unicorn player. With his height and his length, his wingspan, I think he'll be good for you guys. Obviously, being a rookie, he'll have his moments, but one thing's for sure, Draymond's going to call him out.
Yeah.
so he's going to learn quick, you know what I mean? But I think, this guy's a winner. The only thing he didn't achieve anything with is, in college. But being in the system with the Warriors, I think it'll benefit him too.
Yeah.
I think at least if the Warriors had to pick up a 7-foot center, it'd be a James Wiseman because he's so fast and he's able to switch multiple positions. it's just gonna be with him taking in and listening to a lot of the vets. I think him taking in a lot of info, soaking it up like a sponge, is really gonna make his career pan out a lot better. Because he needs to be able to at least shoot a little bit with the Warriors. He's gonna want to be able to have a good touch at the rim and then play defense. Because the Warriors need a lot of defensive help at center. Because Drake can't do it by himself. He's just too small. Against someone like 80, he can play well, but he's not gonna be able to lock him up like they need. And I think you can put Wiseman on a lot of those guys, like a mobile center like AD, or even someone like Jokic.
You can even put him on someone like Giannis too.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what you need on Giannis. You need length, and he's lengthy. So I think that's something that they could really use. I wanted Lamella. I was a big advocate for Lamella the Warriors, but I'm not mad about Wiseman. It wasn't something like, oh, I'm pissed, but I like Wiseman to the Warriors. I think it's a good fit.
I think Lamella would have been like fun to watch,
but
he wouldn't have been the best fit.
I think long term he would have been a better fit.
Yeah,
but Wiseman can also fit long term, so it's not a bad pick either way.
Yeah. But speaking of Lamelo Ball goes to the Charlotte Hornets. So, what do you guys think of this pick?
Man,
that's an odd pick, man. Odd fit.
Yeah,
I think they just chose whatever was the best option on the table.
Yeah,
because I don't think they really had a plan going in. Because after the top three, it wasn't really a lot of players that stood out and were like, okay, these guys are also could go top 5, but it really just top 3. That was it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a deep draft full of really good role players.
Yeah,
but it's
very specific.
Yeah, in terms of like star power, there's not a lot. It was gonna be a tough draft to even draft anyways. But like you said, it's an odd fit. They've invested kind of a lot in Terry Rozier already. And then they found Devontae Graham. I think Devontae Graham fits perfectly alongside LaMelo.
Yeah.
But Rozier does not.
Yep.
That makes me think if Rozier maybe is on the way out. Because LaMelo is a better fit for that team than Rozier is.
But like what do you get back for Rozier?
Yeah. A second round pick at this point.
Probably trade picks. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's kind of hard. And like you guys said, Terry Rozier, like he doesn't fit with the team no more. Because I mean, you look at Devontae Graham, like you see what he did in Kansas. He was able to run with Frank Mason III. Yeah. So he can play with other point guards, but the difference between those two is that they're not predominantly slashers. They can score outside of the key. And so that's what LaMelo does. And not only can he do that, but he can also pass the ball. So I think he's going to slide to the 2. Devontae Graham, sorry. I think Devontae Graham's going to slide to the 2. I think Melo's going to get the keys to the offense. But, it's probably the best situation for him because, their coach, he's up and coming. He gave Graham the green light, you know what I mean, which is why he was up there for MIP, which, he wasn't a finalist, which is questionable, but he was up there. But I think it's perfect because LaMelo needs somebody that will let him loose, be able to play his style. Because, like Trae Young, like the transition in the NBA would have been more difficult if he didn't get a coach like the Hawks' coach. And so, moving forward, like LaMelo, I think he got drafted into the most perfect system. I think he has the capabilities to be the best ball brother. But as of right now, he's still 2 to Lonzo to me because Lonzo is more complete. But it's just the perfect situation for him. So,
and I think something interesting. Structure. Yeah, I think something interesting I saw was that Lonzo wasn't a good defender in college.
Was not at all.
He got completely roasted by De'Aaron Fox. And to see like how Lonzo his transition to the NBA was tough already. But to see his transition as a defender is huge. Yeah. So that gives me hope that LaMelo is going to be probably the most complete out of them. He arguably has a nicer shot coming into the NBA.
Yeah.
Super crafty around the rim, but both of them need to learn how to take contact. They both flail a lot after they get the.
They're both too skinny. That's the problem. They got to lift more. They got to put on weight.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But, I mean, he's still a 6'7", 6'8" point guard. He is gigantic for a point guard. So
Yeah.
that's going to be really something that helps him,
Oh yeah.
But I think
I agree.
all in all, like the top three went pretty much how we thought it would.
Exactly.
I think Edwards is going to be the worst of the top three. It's just my thought.
Yeah,
But
mine too.
second topic, Patrick Williams goes 4th overall. Yeah, this honestly just gives me Aaron Gordon vibes. They saw a super uber athletic guy and were like, dang, he's good. And just took him.
Yeah.
Because, like, we all thought Deni Advija or, like, someone else, Obi Toppin, I think you said, were going for. Deni Advija, I thought, would be perfect because he is a good playmaker.
Deni was a lock.
Yeah. He's a 6'9" playmaker.
I thought he was a lock for 4.
Yeah.
Yep.
He does a little bit of everything. Plays defense, play makes, can score a bit. And they don't have a playmaker. Kobe White is a proven scorer, but he can't pass. Zach LaVine does not pass. Lauri Markkanen and Wendell Carter, I don't expect them to pass.
Yeah.
Patrick Williams is a super athletic guy, super good on defense, but can't shoot, can't play make. So it's going to be tough for them. I wasn't too high on this pick, but Patrick Williams is supposed to be extremely smart, so hopefully he can figure it out. But
yeah,
I think this is going to be one that they regret picking.
Yeah. I mean, what was I going to say? Well, basically, Patrick Williams is one of those guys that it showed how important the draft process is. Because in the beginning, he wasn't even top 10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was outside the top 10. So, like, that process of, going through the workouts and doing the combine, this is one prime example of, helping your stock pretty much. And so I think he definitely benefited from, like, everything that he had to do coming into the draft because, I mean, he skyrocketed to top 5. You know what I mean? I thought he was going to go, like, outside of the top 10.
Yeah.
And so, but I don't know what the Bulls are thinking because I think, I did say Obi, but, I mean, Deni would have been the proper pick for them. It would have made the most sense because even though they have Otto Porter Jr. still, right? But, Deni would have been a pick for the future because I feel like they're going to be ready to move on from Otto Porter Jr.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, they wanted to, trade Wendell Carter. And so I feel like Deni could have played either one of those forward roles, 3 or 4. But, I mean, they're probably looking for some energy because that's what Patrick Williams could possibly bring. I mean, don't get me wrong. He was good at Florida State, but I don't think he was good enough to get that 4th pick. And like you said, it's like Aaron Gordon vibes because Aaron Gordon was, he was dominant in Arizona, but he wasn't dominant to the point where he should have gotten drafted that high.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hopefully it pans out for them because, I mean, I could say that they had success in the draft with getting Kobe White, Wendell Carter Jr. when healthy, Lauri Markkanen maybe, but moving forward, I hope this pick pays off because if not, man, that's a bad first start for my boy.
Yeah, Billy Donovan has a tough road ahead. But what do you think, Bryce?
I think that the Bulls made this pick because they wanted to hit a home run on their first pick as a group. I think they did their whole draft process based off of athleticism and their draft interview with him because he wasn't that good at Florida. He only averaged 9 points and 4 rebounds. And it was only one season he didn't start. So I feel like I don't know if they didn't know who he was before the whole draft process or how they decided, but they must have seen something and they said he's really smart and he's got obviously a good body, good frame. So they that could have just what sold him to just pure athleticism. It's surprising because Deni Advija would have been a better pick, I feel like, just because of fit-wise. But it maybe mean that they're thinking of moving players around, shifting everything to get to fit Patrick Williams into their system.
Yeah, and I think something to keep in mind is that they were only allowed to have one-on-one workouts. Yeah, so it could have been that they just saw his athleticism and were like, yep, that's our guy. Because
vertical spacing.
Look at it, no. People were like, after that whole Anthony Edwards clutch that televised workout. People are like, wow, he's so athletic. And it's like, yeah, he's athletic, but can he do that?
Do something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of concern. Like, athletic guys are cool when they're young, but when they get older, they have no other skills because they've relied so much on their athleticism. So you can see guys like Blake Griffin who have gotten better, developed a handle and a jumper, but can he do that? Can Patrick Williams be able to transition into that later in his career?
Yeah.
It's going to be something we have to see. But the next three players we're going to talk about: Obi Toppin, Deni Advija, Tyrese Halliburton, and why did they slip in the draft? So Obi Toppin was projected, I think, 5 at the highest, even 2 at the highest. And like we said, like we really thought Obi Toppin was going to go higher, and then he slips all the way down to 8, which could be perfect for him because he's from New York.
Exactly.
But I think ultimately he slipped just because he's 22.
Yeah.
And it's sad because, like, they were right to not pick him almost because he has no potential. Not that he has no potential, but his potential is pretty low.
Yeah. His ceiling isn't as high as the other ones in the draft, I feel like.
Yeah, he definitely has a good offensive game. I think offensively, he can dunk, he can shoot, he can do almost anything you want on the offensive end. But he can't play defense. Can't rebound.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a huge concern.
They're saying he's a nightmare on defense.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you're drafting a dude in top 8, if you're a nightmare on defense, you want him to do pretty much everything. He needs to be able to shoot at a high rate. He needs to be able to finish at a high rate. But he only made 32 threes in 31 games in college and shot 39%. So it's hard to say if he's a really good shooter, especially in college, if that'll translate. And really, he's only a finisher at this point. And I think the Knicks drafted him to be the focal point in their offense. Yeah. Because there aren't a lot of dudes on that team who can just do a lot. And I think that's why they drafted him, obviously. But he definitely fell because of his defense and his age. He's just a lot older than a lot of the other guys in the draft.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this, though. The Knicks are probably like praying to God, like, thank goodness we got him.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? But I agree with Stephen A. Smith on what he had to say. They should have drafted a point guard.
Yeah.
But at that point, Obi, like, slipping, who should have slipped that far, was probably the best player left.
Yeah.
And so, like, being from New York, that has to feel amazing for him. So, New York, like, they got enough forwards down there. So, I mean, I'm not sure how they're going to utilize him. Obviously, they're looking for the best player available.
They're going to get rid of someone.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, they got Taj, they got Julius Randle, they got
Kevin Knox.
Bobby Portis was declined today.
Yeah, Bobby Portis.
He got it. He declined, or they declined his option, so he's not on the team anymore.
Julius Randle.
Julius Randle's not on the team.
Yeah, so even though they have like a log jam in the front court.
Yeah.
And so what do you call this? Like, basically, like, the Obi Toppin makes sense because like I said, he's the best player. But in terms of fit, it just doesn't. But I have no idea why he slipped that far. Maybe the other teams were, they believe that other players should have been better over him. Because who did the Cavs pick? Oh, man, I forgot.
Okoro.
Yeah, Isaac Okoro.
Okay, I mean, the way his highlights look like, because I've seen him in Auburn. I've seen a couple games, but it's just, I feel as if Obi would have been better for them over Isaac Okoro. Yeah. But in terms of like what they have, but New York, like I said, they're just happy to get their guy.
I was reading that the Cavs really want to go defensive this year, so they wanted a defensive specialist. So that's why they didn't pick Obi, because they wanted more a defensive player.
That makes sense. I mean, they don't have any kind of defense.
That's why they want to start. Drummond is not bad on defense. He's solid for a center.
Yeah.
I just don't like Drummond. I think Drummond.
Neither do I, but still.
Yeah. I'm shocked he slipped to 8. I think he's a great player, and I think he will be a great offensive player. And I think any team would love to have him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a pretty big dude. He can learn how to play defense. He can body up dudes. He can.
He's really stiff.
It's just, that's the only problem.
And,
that's the only thing. Yeah.
You know, you would think with a guy with his size and his athleticism, he'd be able to grab boards, but I think he grabbed like 6 or 7 a game.
But you can teach that though. That's something easier to teach than size, and offense is a little harder, but defense you can teach.
Should have paired up with Kevin Love, man. That would have been nasty.
Yeah.
But Deni Advija going to the Washington Wizards, he slipped from 4 to 9. And I think there were only a couple teams that he really could have gone to. Outside of the Bulls, I don't think a lot of teams need a large guard like that. But like we said, like he's 6'9". He has some great playmaking. Can play the pick and roll. He can see right over people. Good finishing, sneaky athleticism. Shooting is going to be a real concern, and I think that's the main reason he fell. And I think a lot of people say that free throws are the best way to tell if someone's good at shooting. He shot 55% from the free throw, so pretty bad. But he could get better. But this really kind of this might be random, but it reminded me of Jan Vesely. I don't know if you guys know who that is.
Yeah, he used to play for the Wizards, number 12, I think.
He was selected 2011, top pick.
Yeah.
Lasted 3 seasons and averaged 4.7 as a career high. They're not the same player, but they're both European. Both very similar in size.
Yep.
I really hope Deni isn't like this because Jan was a terrible pick.
Yeah.
What
do you guys think about Deni?
I like Deni. I wanted the Warriors to get him if they traded down to 4. But I think the only reason why he really slipped wasn't because of his game or anything other than just shooting. But I think it was a lack of need for where he plays and what teams needed in the draft. I think other than the Warriors, there weren't a lot of teams that needed a wing like him specifically.
Yeah.
Other than the Bulls, I thought the Bulls needed him, but obviously they didn't think they needed him. But I think that he slipped mainly due to what teams need in this draft. This draft was weird because it's a really specific needs for each team. And with the top 3 teams in the draft being more teams in the middle and to the top, not really bottom feeding teams, I think that really changed the way the draft played out because of that. Because the Warriors are not a bottom team. The Timberwolves they're not bottom feeding, but they're also not a top competing team, and neither are the Hornets. They're not super bottom feeding, but they're on their way up, and so I feel like that's why a lot of teams passed on him because they needed more. Those teams had their specific needs. They didn't need Deni Advija at all.
That's true.
Yeah, and I think with Deni, I think since he's such a good playmaker, what does this mean for John Wall? Because we've heard that they're very upset with John Wall's gang sign video. And so because of that video, apparently they're flipping from him and planning to build around Bradley Beal. So the trade rumors for John Wall, it makes sense. But it's kind of like a slap in the face to John Wall, who's done so much for them, built them up kind of from the ground up. And has stayed loyal throughout the whole thing. And just for them, just one video to surface and it's like, oh, can't pick him anymore, can't choose him. It's a really odd situation. But we'll see what happens. But Tyreese Halliburton, some guy, this is a guy I was pretty high on, and for the Kings to get him was pretty crazy.
It's a good pick.
I think he was it's a very good pick. He was projected to go as high as 7, maybe even 4. Because every team needs a point guard, and especially a team like a player like Tyrese, super good on almost every aspect of his game. He's pretty good. He's a guy that does a lot of good things.
He's older, right?
He's 20.
20.
It seems like he's older because he seems really mature for his age. But the only reason I could see that he slipped so far is because he has a very low ceiling. There's only so much he can get better at. He's not going to get better at defense. He's really good at defense already because of his 6'5" frame, and he's got really good length on him. Maybe improving his jumper, but he did shoot 40% from 3 in college. Kind of an awkward shot, but it went in. It wasn't as bad as Lonzo or Lamella, but it was just like kind of heaving it up, but that can be fixed. He's a really good playmaker because of his size. So there's not really a lot of holes on Tyrese, but it's just the fact that teams were looking to hit a home run in this draft, like Bryce said. Teams wanted to potentially get a star rather than someone that's going to help them now.
Yeah.
So I think that's the reason he slipped. But what do you guys think, Cam?
I mean, I think so. First of all, like with Tyrese, the vibe that I get from him is Matisse. Matisse Thybulle. I feel like that's who the Kings can envision with getting that type of player. Being 6'5" and playing the way that he does. I feel like they want to pair him obviously with De'Aaron Fox, which is why they chose him. They weren't looking for a backup. They were looking for somebody to start right away alongside him because I feel like, they're moving on from Buddy Hield. I'm praying that he ends up on the Lakers, but it's a whole different story. You know what I mean? But I think the Kings are buying into how he could play alongside De'Aaron Fox. They can let De'Aaron do his thing, but Tyrese will be up there for like defense. But I definitely think that this was a good pick for the Kings. In recent years, they've had questionable picks. Like, I love my Duke guy, Marvin Bagley, but they could have had Luka.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, I hope this pays off for them because on paper right now, it looks like it's a good fit. They're starting to, it's, Buddy Hield, but he came off the bench. And then now it's looking chaotic in that system with Bogdan and everything going on. So it's just, they need a refresher, and hopefully this is the guy to do it.
Yeah. But what do you think, Bryce?
I like Tyreese Halliburton. His shot's weird, and I'm assuming that played a part into why he dropped because it's a slow shot. And guys in the NBA can get out in that a lot faster. And I really think that teams in the top 11, they were all looking to draft a star. They weren't looking to draft a guy who's already established himself pretty much and won't get too much better. That has to be the only reason why he dropped, because I feel like they wanted a star. And he might not develop into that star, but he can develop into a dude you can depend on defensively to run your offense. And I think having De'Aaron more off balls can help him out and help him grow a lot more. And it won't all fall on him anymore. I think that's a big reason, or a big step in the right direction for the Kings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Kings are a team that have a lot of good players at each position, but they all just struggle at staying healthy. De'Aaron kind of struggled last season at staying healthy. Marvin Bagley has always struggled at being healthy.
Yep.
So it's just about trying to maybe getting a better health staff. I don't know, but they just need to do something because they are perennially in the 9th or 10th seed. It's not a good look.
It's definitely not.
And with Buddy Hield, it's time to let him go. Let him do his own thing, but apparently he's not wanted. Apparently teams
I want him
not
gelling.
That's
Warriors will
different,
take him.
CJ.
The Warriors are going to take him. He's going to fit into our I don't know what he'll fit into. He'll fit into something.
There's no way we could afford $24 million.
If
17 million is 80, I'm not paying any more.
He'll take a little cut. Don't worry.
Oh yeah. Anyways, so to carry on, who is the best player in this draft, or who will be the best player in this draft? Bryce, let's see you go first, and CJ and I kind of answered this last time.
It's between Wiseman and Lamella for me.
Nice.
I don't think there's anyone even close to it. Them, at least in the draft. It's all going to depend on which team kind of lets them grow a little better. I think LaMelo, it's either going to hurt him or allow him to grow a lot better to be in the Charlotte system. They need to have good structure if you want to unlock his potential, because as soon as LaMelo moved to Australia with his old coach, was it Justin Jackson? No. Jermaine Jackson.
Yeah,
Jermaine
I
Jackson.
think. Yeah.
Jermaine Jackson. It totally turned his career around because he wasn't going to be a top 10, top 15 pick with his dad. But
Mhm.
him getting to Spire and Spire? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fire.
Him getting to Spire and meeting Jermaine Jackson totally changed the way he looked at things. He's
Yeah.
now a grown man who's capable of making his own decisions. And I think having structure will make him a better player because he now needs to be that leader of Charlotte. There's no one else on the team who can lead. And I think him being the leader can make him the best. I think overall he could be the best. And then Wiseman obviously is on a team that wins a lot. And he got lucky being picked by a team like the Warriors who have a really good structure, really good coach already.
Yeah.
I think those two are the only ones I see having any potential of being the best in the draft. This draft just seems kind of not weak, but really specific needs for all the players.
Yeah. Then who do you think is going to be the best, CJ?
I have Justinian Jessup.
He's a stash. Just wait. He's our own Duncan Robinson.
Hey, man. I saw that report yesterday. I couldn't help but laugh. But, hey, who knows, right? Who knows?
Hey, he could be. Who knows? He's signed to Australia, I think, for 2 years.
Yeah. I actually have Anthony Edwards being the best player from the draft. As I said before, I was sold on that Maui Invitational game against Michigan State where he just went absolutely crazy against Michigan State. Put up 39, hit 7 threes. It's getting just about anything he wanted, on a good Michigan State team. And so, looking past the antics, I think if he stays locked in, I believe that he can be the best player from this draft. But surprisingly, like with recent, the draft and everything that's happened, I did my research on Tyrese actually yesterday because yesterday was like one of the few times where they actually like highlighted him for me because I did my research on him before and just watched workout videos. And, although like, he has some stuff that he definitely needs to work on, like just watching him, with Iowa State, I think like I was sold like he might be my dark horse candidate to be the best player. So I have Anthony Edwards, obviously, but Tyrese close second.
Yeah, my best player is still Killian Hayes. I think he was a great get for a team like the Pistons.
Oh, yeah.
And he is a 6'5" point guard who can have some great playmaking skills and should be able to play defense on some good guards, And he shot 88, 89% from the free throw, so that's a very good telling to see his shot develop. He's got that James Harden step back. It's really clean. I think the main concern for him is he can't dribble with his offhand. That's pretty concerning. But to put that in context, Lonzo couldn't either. So there are other guards who can't do that. It's not just Killian Hayes.
Yeah.
But, I think he's going to be a huge get for the Pistons. That's why I think they're going to trade Derrick Rose at some point. Because I think you want to start someone like Killian right away just to get him reps early.
Yeah.
Who's your guy's biggest steal or steals in this draft?
I think Deni might be a big steal. He dropped from 4 to 9, and I think if you give him the time and you let him run with a guy like John Wall, his playmaking can only go up, and he's got a dude like Bradley to be able to learn from. If he can learn how to shoot, he's going to be really good. He's going to be a really all-around player. He's already good defensively, and he could fit in well with that Washington team. It just depends what they do with Bradley and Wall because they're an odd fit together already. Only because I feel like they don't get along,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But I like Deni a lot. I think I want him on the Warriors, not only if they're going to drop, but I think he's going to be a big pick for Washington. And I think Killian Hayes could be really good. I think he fits well with that Piston team. I think he fits way better than Lamella would have with the Pistons, like his dad wanted him to go there. But I think Killian is going to be really good as long as that Piston team continues to grow because they're on their way up too. They're consistently like the 15th best team. So they need a couple picks and I think a couple pieces, and I think Killian will help them get there too.
Yeah.
Even though I know they're your Duke guys, but who's your biggest steal in the draft?
So I actually have three steals that I would consider. First one I want to go with is shout out the Miami Heat and my guy Ivan, the only Heat fan I know. Precious Achiuwa, man, like watching him in Memphis take over after Wiseman went out, like you could tell that he was a clear-cut best player. But it's crazy how he fell in the lap of Miami, because now they have somebody to back up Adebayo. You could argue that they have similar play styles, except Adebayo is just much taller, and they're both athletic. Precious has been improving his jump shot from what Draft Express posted. His workout videos, and it's just his athleticism is off the charts. And right before the season started last season for college hoops, they have the McDonald's All-American game and all that stuff, and just watching him in the dunk contest, and man, he's just oozing with that athleticism. And just, Miami, like, they've obviously known to be drafting well too, so they knew what they were doing by taking him. And so the next guy I have is, my guy Trey Jones. Hey, he got drafted for the most perfect opportunity, man. Like, no joke. Like, the GOAT for college coaches is Mike Krzyzewski, obviously, and the system that he runs is successful. And in the NBA today, even though his team doesn't show a reflection of that, Popovich is one of the most best coaches in the NBA right now. And so for Trey Jones to get drafted coming out of Duke to the Spurs, I think it's just the perfect opportunity for him. Learn under Pop to see how he can do things. We see what he did with Derek White, DeJounte Murray. Like, obviously, like, DeJounte was elite coming off of high school and going to Washington. But, Derek White from Colorado, what he did with Keldon Johnson from Kentucky. I'm so happy for Trey Jones to get drafted in a system like that. And the last guy that I have is RJ Hampton. How do you go to the Nuggets? Man, like the Nuggets, like they've been drafting sneakily, but they get their guys, like MPJ, Ball, like even though Ball didn't get some run last year in the playoff or this year in the playoffs, it's just you could tell that these guys, like, they're ready to play. And like, RJ Hampton, like he was up there in the draft board. And for him to fall to the Nuggets, like, I just think that they did so well. And I think he might be up there. He might be rivaling Killian Hayes for one of the top guards. And so, like, RJ Hampton, he's explosive. He saw what he did against Melo, in Australia. But, those are my three.
Yeah, I think those are definitely some good choices. RJ Hampton to fall that far was kind of insane. And I'm shocked the Bucks didn't keep that pick.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't. They need a point guard, but they're like, nah, Nuggets have it. It's just weird. I think the Bucks are in a weird place, but those are some great players. And I think Trey Jones, imagining just the defensive tandem of Trey Jones and DeJounte Murray is going to be nasty. There's no doubt about that. That's going to be really difficult to score on. But I got two players. Obviously, Killian Hayes is one of my guys. I have been very vocal about Killian Hayes. I think he's going to be a great player. I don't need to talk about him more. I talked about him enough. Another steal is just Tyrese Halliburton. I think he could be a really good player. And I think he will be right out of the gates, and I think he will continue to be until the end of his career. I think he fits really well with that Kings system, and I think he's going to fit really well next to De'Aaron. And the last guy, Nico Mannion, man. That is a crazy good pick for the Warriors, man. I really thought he was going to go at least top 30. Yeah. And then to slip all the way to 48 is insane.
Yeah.
And we know how big of a fan they are. Right? Yeah. We know how big of a fan Steve Kerr was. Bob Myers is really into him too, so that's a great pickup. Great pickup.
Hey, you know what? Let me just say, man. Let me just say, this is the second time where I've been so pissed. I mean, I know the Lakers didn't have a pick, but man, we drafted Thomas Bryant when Jordan Bell was there, and look what happened with Jordan Bell in his first season with the Warriors, man. Yep. You know what I mean? And then now, Nikola, like, we could have bought that pick, like a second-round pick, but no, man. Like, he's gonna be elite, especially with Klay like out right now. He's gonna get an opportunity.
I feel like run with Jordan Poole now.
Yeah, you know what? I think he's better than Bowman for sure.
Oh yeah.
100%.
I think he's up there with Poole, and he might be stealing some minutes from Steph Curry's brother-in-law. You know what I mean?
Damian Lee.
Damian Lee, yeah. So I'm so mad that he slipped that far and fell to you guys, man. What is that? You know? But that just goes to show, like, what we've been talking about. Like, the draft is just, it's weird. Like, you don't know what a team really wanted to do in terms of specific needs. And so, yeah, man. Like, shout out to you guys.
Yeah. It almost felt like they just forgot about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Because nobody was talking about him. And, like, I remember I knew about him when I was in high school. When
Yeah,
I
he was in
college,
all
I
of
knew
those
about him.
overtime things. He was in
Yes.
all of.
He was always someone you'd see on those high school, like, mixtapes. So if
Yeah.
I know you from that line, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Because that means I kept out looking for you. Same thing with Trae Young, too. So to get someone like that in the second round is pretty insane.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for him.
We also got the steal.
Oh, yeah, Justinian Jessup?
Justinian Jessup.
Man. Oh, he's going to be great.
Steal.
Dead shot.
When I saw that, I was like, who the hell is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, Spence, who's Justinian Jessup? And he's like, I'm going to have to go look. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't have looked up his highlights. Like, he's just a straight-up shooter. And then in the comments, all you see is like, hey, who's here from the Warriors pick? And it was like all of them were just like 16 minutes ago. I was like, dang.
Yeah, bro. The second coming of Klay.
I hope so.
Man.
How do you come up with the name Justinian?
Hey, his parents probably were like, Justin? Nah, let's go something else. Yeah, Justinian, you know?
It's so weird, man. But let's get into the last topic.
Yeah.
What team will have the biggest regret of the 2020 NBA draft?
Ooh. I'll say my team. I'll say my team for sure. The Lakers. We could have bought a second round pick. There was plenty of available players. You know, one guy I want to highlight is Marcus Howard. It's so crazy how he didn't get drafted. Like, you know, I kept in the loop for him because of league fits. I love the way that he dressed, and then like I was just like, wow, who is this guy? You know, Seton Hall guy and all that stuff. So I was watching his highlight. Man, he's a bucket. Like, he's a straight, absolute bucket. And it's just the fact that, you know, he was the leading scorer in college hoops at one point, and he doesn't get drafted, which is so crazy to me. So, I mean, there's a playmaking scorer right there. And I feel like the Lakers should have, you know, picked up instead of trying to find somebody in free agency. I mean, I get it coming off a championship and all that stuff. But, I mean, Pelinka said it best. They don't want to stay complacent, but they could have, you know, used some money to get somebody.
Arguably what they did, too.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so, like,
the
Knicks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you guys said this morning.
Yeah, see, but the Knicks would give me a contract, so there's that.
Hey, you deserve it.
They're going down to the men's league. I'm like, all right, you can shoot. You're on the team.
Yeah, exactly, man.
What are you,
They actually just traded. I know, right? They actually just traded for the Jazz traded Ed Davis and a pick to them.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, they're getting everybody, you know what I mean? And so, but yeah, like I would say, like the Lakers for letting so many players slip, especially Marcus Howard.
And especially in a deep draft like this, where you could get some like guys like Nico Manning, even Vernon Carey was in the second round.
Yeah.
Guy Cassius Stanley, and there was a lot of players that fell. And like it's crazy, like to go back to Cassius Stanley, like the guy was extremely athletic, and he's been super hyped ever since he was in like high school.
Yeah,
and to see him fall was crazy. He scored more than Patrick Williams in college on a better team.
Yeah, exactly.
And nobody wanted him, so it's just very interesting to see what happened. You know, so but I think with Cassius, it's because he's pretty old for a freshman.
Yeah,
20 years old. I was like when I saw that, I was like, he's 20 as a freshman. Yeah, that was a weird thing to see. But I think I have two biggest regrets. The Chicago Bulls, and we've talked about this. Getting Deni would have been better. They need a playmaker, you know. But the second team, it's going to be Minnesota. For one, not trading that pick. You could have gotten some vets, which you desperately need, and or you could have gotten a star. You have the number one overall pick. Teams want that pick. But I think they were either too stingy or not active enough I heard they only called 10 teams for a trade.
Yeah.
If you have the number 1 overall pick, call all 30. See what you can get.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge regret that they're going to have because, like, Bryce and I are not huge on Anthony Edwards. I think he's going to be a really good player. But I don't know if he's going to be worth the number 1 overall pick. He screams Dion Waiters / Andrew Wiggins to me.
That's fair. That's fair.
And he's exactly what people said Andrew Wiggins was going to be in college, right? A slasher who can kind of shoot, that if motivated, he can defend. And it's like, is he going to be motivated after those quotes?
Yeah.
Is he going to be motivated to work harder and bust his ass every day? We don't know.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, his shot selection is something that can be fixed. And I think playing next to a guy like D'Lo is going to help because of his playmaking. And, you know, as much as I like to kind of get on Anthony Edwards, he's a good playmaker.
Yeah.
The numbers didn't show it because his team was that bad.
Yeah.
So he had to play hero ball. But that could be a problem going forward because
that's what he's used to.
Yeah,
He's
he could
developing
love
bad
playing
habits.
hero ball. Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm really kind of hesitant. I was so hesitant about Anthony Edwards. But I think they're going to look back at this and regret not trading that pick. But what do you think, Bryce?
At the Warriors, not picking LaMelo Ball.
I get out of here.
I think definitely the Bulls are going to regret it probably the most out of any team, letting their guy who they had. We had them all. I feel like everyone had Deni penciled in at number 4, and to fall 5 picks like that is going to be pretty big. And then I feel like any team. I'm surprised no one picked up Cassius Stanley. You see a lot of teams just like wanting athletic guards, and he's an athletic guard. I was surprised that the Warriors went with Justinian Jessup over Cassius Stanley.
They're doing that for dead cap.
Yeah, it's just because they didn't want to pick up another player and have to pay him. I know that. I'm surprised.
Yeah. That's crazy.
With Cassius Stanley, like, he's a shooter too. So I don't like.
Yeah.
That's exactly what teams want: an athletic, scoring guard that can shoot. But teams are like, no, Patrick Williams.
You know, what's crazy is just that, you know, I understand, like, people saying, like, oh, he might be too old, this and that. But, like, what people forget is, you know, John Morant, he was a sophomore when he got drafted.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 completely different players, I understand. And John Morant is, like, elite point guard. But it's just, you know, in terms of age, like, that shouldn't play a factor. Because you can also look at guys like Kemba Walker who stayed all 4 years in college. You know what I mean? He's still been able to produce. And so, like, I really don't understand why guys like him drop so low. Like, I understand why Vernon carried it because, you know, he's a traditional big. But it's just – I was just so upset. But I'm glad the Pacers got him. Hopefully he gets a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are the Pacers? They just had Brogdon at point guard, right? Oh, Aaron Holiday too.
Aaron Holiday, yep. So he could play the 2 for them for sure.
Yeah, he can definitely play the 2. I think at some point,
especially if they get rid of Victor too. Yeah,
they're going to at some point. There's no way he can talk all that and then be like, oh, no, I didn't mean it. And then be like, hey, I'm coming back, guys. It's like no one wants you.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Every team, hey, can I play with you guys?
In front of your team, he's like, hey, I'm going to go ask them something. Can I play with you guys?
I know, right?
And it's like, you have to go see them in the bubble. You're gonna be with your teams the entire time. And you're going to go, hey, can I play with you guys? And it's just like, why? But, you know, that's a story for another time. But thank you for coming to our 18th podcast, the post-draft podcast, the first one. Thank you to Bryce for coming on. And thank you to CJ for hopping right back on. And this is going to be our second of the week. And we have one more planned for a Warriors-themed podcast on Saturday or Sunday. Depends when I can get that up. But this was a lot of fun. And I love the – oh, God. Yeah, Kelly Oubre is going to the Warriors, and I'm excited for that, man. We're going to talk more about that on Saturday, Sunday, when the trade finally goes through. But this is going to be, like I said, this is a super busy week for us. With the draft, free agency starting on Friday? Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah 9 o'clock tonight.
Yep. So this is going to be a very busy week for us. So please drop a like, comment, and subscribe. But that's all for us. Check our social medias down below. But catch you guys in the next one.